Hi and welcome back. In the last video we went ahead and finished phase one of our design process for creating our sample website, and that was actually setting up the HTML structure for our project. And again, you can see our sample project right here. Now phase two of our design process is going to be to add content to that structure, to add the text, the images, the links, to get all that set up. And then the third phase is going to be to develop the CSS that's going to format our page to look like the design that we have here. So again, the goal for this video is going to be to complete adding the content for this project to our actual HTML structure. Now, in an earlier video, we went ahead and grabbed the images from my site for this project template, and we copied those into our images folder. If you don't have those images, I'm going to give you the dimensions for each one of these images, and you can simply go out and find images or create them using a program like Adobe Fireworks or Photoshop or even Windows Paint. The first area that we're going to focus on is this top area right here, and it has a logo and a social media section here, and you can see I've got three icons here as well as this graphic. And this graphic here is actually 200 pixels wide and 75 pixels high. So you're going to need to, if you don't already have the completed exercise with the images, you're going to need to go ahead and create a graphic that's 200 pixels wide by 75 pixels high. You're also going to need a few social media icons here. And the easiest way to get that is simply go to Google and search for social media icon download. And you'll find that there are lots of sites and graphic artists that have created social media icons that are free for you to download and use. Once you've got those, we're going to go ahead and add them to our design. So let's go ahead and I'm going to minimize this, and I'm back here in Expression Web, and again I have my main.html open, and here's the top div, and again inside of that we have the logo div and the social media div, and that's what we're going to go ahead and fill out right now. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is click inside of the logo div, and we're going to add that image. So I'm going to use the img tag with the source attribute, or the src attribute, and I'm going to use the pick URL feature here by clicking on it to go ahead and navigate into my images folder, and you should see your logo has been saved in that folder. There's two versions here, a PNG version and a JPEG version. Doesn't matter which one you select. I'm going to select the JPEG version, and then I'm going to go ahead and click open. And you'll see that path has been added to the source attribute. The one thing that it didn't add was the closing quotation mark. So remember to put that in there. And then we can type a space, a slash, and a closing mark. And that's all you need to add that image. And when we look at it in design view, there we go. We have that image in there. And again, as we go through this process, the site is not going to look the way it does in its finished form. Don't worry about the formatting or anything in this video. The formatting is all going to come when we deal with CSS. For this video, we're just concentrating on getting all of the content into the site, or into the HTML structure. So I'm going to come back into code view here. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my social media div. And you can see here we've actually got a couple of paragraphs. One that says connect us with, and then we have three images, three icons, and then we have contact us today for support and a phone number. This phone number right here is formatted in this way because I have Skype installed on my computer. If I didn't have Skype, it would just show up as text, and if you don't have Skype, it will just show up as text as well. Again, that's a feature of Skype, not a feature of Expression Web. So we've got a couple of paragraphs, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a p tag. And I'm going to go ahead and type connect with us. And then I'm going to go ahead and close my p tag. And then I need those 3 images. Now, you'll remember earlier I mentioned unordered lists are often used to hold different navigation elements. And we're going to use that technique so we can get everything formatted the way we want to in this project. So these social media icons here are going to be in an unordered list. And actually we could have made these 2 phrases here also in an unordered list, but we're just going to leave those alone as paragraphs. The second unordered list we're going to use for navigation is going to be for this top nav area here. And the rest of this is just normal text content and images. So again, we're going to use unordered lists to create the different navigation elements. And again, that's going to make it very easy for us to lay out and format all this in CSS. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a UL tag, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my first list item tag, and I want an image to be inside of my list item. So instead of typing some text in, you're going to use the image tag. And again, I'm going to use the source attribute and pick URL. And I have a folder here called icons. And I'm going to select Facebook. And then I'm going to close the image tag. And then I'm going to go ahead and close the list item tag. And I'm going to do that for 3 more items. Open a list item and insert an image inside of them. Use the pick URL feature to go ahead and select the icon that I want, and then close the list item again. Next one we'll go ahead and do, and actually I see another couple of mistakes I've made here. This is a mistake I make all the time. I forget to close my quotation marks. And then I'm going to do another image here. Make sure you close those quotation marks. And then I'm going to use pick URL and select the next image. Close my quotation mark, and then close my tag, my image tag, and then close my list item tag. And finally, we need to close that unordered list right there. And then in our finished project, we have another paragraph that says contact us today for support, and then a phone number. So again, we'll do that in a p tag. Contact us today for more information. And then I'll close my p tag. And that's all the content that I'm going to need inside of the social media div. And you can see here the paragraph connect with us, the 3 icons in the list, and the paragraph. And that's exactly the way, or the paragraph at the bottom. And this is exactly the way this should be appearing. And again, we're going to format all this with CSS. So now I'm going to go ahead and come back into Code View here. And the next item that I have is this top nav div. This top nav div. And we're going to need to go ahead and create 5 links for welcome, about, products, services, and contact. So 5 text links for each one of these 5 items here. And again, we're going to contain that list inside of, or we're going to contain those links inside of an unordered list. And that's what allows us to use CSS to actually get this to format the way it looks here. So I'm going to go ahead and again open up an unordered list. And then I'm going to do my first list item. And again, each list item is going to contain a link. And you'll remember links are contained in A tags. So I could type welcome here and then close my A tag and close my LI tag. And the only other thing I need to add is the href attribute to the A tag to indicate the target of that link. Now, right now, we haven't created any pages other than index and main. So in your mind, you need to decide what you're going to call these other pages, because you're making the link before you've actually made the page. And then when you make the page, you need to make sure you use the same name. And we're simply going to do this as index, about.html, products.html, services.html, and contact.html. So I'm going to go ahead and again click right there in the opening A tag, and I'm going to use the href attribute, and I'm just going to go ahead and link this to the index.html page. And if we were to go ahead and close that unordered list and then take a look at this in design view, you'll see that link is appearing there. Let's go ahead and do each one of these, and actually to speed this up, what you can do is you can highlight that, copy it, and then just paste them in place. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this several more times here. Whoops, I pasted right over my UL there. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and change the name here to about products, services, and contact. Copy and paste is one of your best friends when you're doing these HTML layouts. And again, I need to come in here and I need to change, and actually in my finished design these are in all capitals. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to welcome in all capitals, and then about products, services, contact. Save it, look at it in design view, and there we go. We've got our menu. Next thing we need to go ahead and do is we need to add the banner image for this. Now, in this banner area, right now we have this sliding, fading banner. This is actually called a slider, even though it's fading in and out. We're going to go ahead in a later video and configure the slider so you have this rotating image through here. But for right now, what we're just going to do is place one placeholder image in its place. So I'm going to go ahead and in the banner area, again, I'm going to use the image tag, and I need to take caps lock off there, and the source attribute, and I'm going to use pick URL. I'm still in my icons folder, so I need to go up one level. So I'm going to go into images, and there is one of my banner images right there. You can either use banner or banner 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a slash and a closing tag. We'll save that, come here, and actually there's a problem right there. You can see there's just the open image with the X on it. And you can probably already guess from the mistake that I always make what I did. I forgot to put my closing quotation mark on here. Sure enough, there it is. But if I finish my closing quote, now I see that image appear. Once you get into the habit of not closing quotes and things like that, that can be a hard habit to break. And I'm going to go ahead and go back into code here. And here's my sub-banner area. The sub-banner area in our design simply has this placeholder text inside of it. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that text just to speed things up. And that's actually in a second level heading in an H2. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste that text in and close my H2. There we go. Got to scroll back on over and save this. And now when I look in Design View, you can see that piece of text there. And again, all the formatting we're going to do with CSS. The next thing that we have is we've got this content area here. And the content area has a heading, some paragraphs, a few images, a second level heading, and another paragraph of text. And actually, I was mistaken. This actually is a second level heading. This here is a third level heading. So I can go ahead really quickly and change that in Code View here from H2 to H3. And remember, when you change your opening tag, you've got to also change your closing tag. So here's my content area here. And again, I have Welcome to Fullerton Corporation here. And that's going to be in an H1. And then close my H1. And then I've got a couple of paragraphs of text in here. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that and copy it. Come back here into my design and open a P tag up. Paste that on in. And I've got to go ahead and scroll over to the far right here. And I have to remember to close that P tag. And looking at our design, we actually have a second paragraph right here. And again, just to speed things up, I'm going to copy that placeholder text and paste it into position. Now we actually have 3 images right here. So let's go ahead now and place those images inside of our content div. And again, this is the IMG tag with the source attribute. And we want to use the pick URL option, so select that or click on it. And as I scroll down, or I'm sorry, scroll up, here are our sample pictures. I'll select one, and then I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to click, do it a second time, and select that guy there. And I'm actually not putting the alt attribute on right now, and I forgot to close my quotation marks again. That's a bad habit for me because I'm used to using Dreamweaver, and in Dreamweaver it closes the quote for you, so you get lazy about doing it yourself. You forget. And then I'm going to go ahead and again grab the third image from here, close my quote, and space and slash. And now when I save this, when we come in here to design, you should see those 3 images are there. Well, now we've got a second level heading and another paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and again click here in my content area, and this is going to be an H2, and I'll just type second level heading on page, close my H2, and then I need a paragraph, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy that really quickly and paste it in just to save some time there. And then we go into Design View, you'll see that's there. Now the next div that we're going to work on is going to be the right side div. And let's take a look and see how that looks. You can see I've got sidebar title and then a paragraph, this icon and another paragraph, and then another sidebar title, and this right here. And these are going to be H2s. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight that block of text there and copy it. And again, if you don't have the finished exercise files, you can go to my website, see the finished template, and copy that text if you want. And then I'm going to go ahead and, again, H2 here. Sidebar heading. Close my H2. And then I'm going to put that paragraph of text in, remembering to close my paragraph tag. After that, in our design, we have this image right here. So I'm going to go grab that calendar image. I'm going to do an opening IMG tag with the source attribute. I'll use the pick URL option. And there's my calendar icon. And I'm going to go ahead and close my quote, space, slash, and close that off. And then we have another paragraph, a heading, and a final paragraph. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this to make it a little bit easier here. We'll save that. And we look at it in design view, you can see there's our sidebar heading, our paragraph, our image, another paragraph, and another heading and paragraph. So far this is looking great. Last thing we need to go ahead and do is put some text in the footer here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and copy that text. I'm just going to highlight it and copy it. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into code view here. And inside of a p tag, I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. And then close my p tag. Now, this copyright symbol that we have right here, in the way that it's showing up there, it may not display correctly in all browsers. For example, when I look at this in design view here, it does show up, but again, all browsers it may not show up in. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. How do I get that symbol to appear in every browser, in every circumstance? And the answer is you put a special HTML code in that tells the browser to create that symbol. And the code for the copyright symbol is easy to remember. It's the and symbol, copy, and then a semicolon. And that's all there is to that code right there. And then I get the copyright symbol. And again, this will cause it to appear in every browser regardless of the one where your visitor is using. There are lots of HTML codes for popular symbols like copyright, registered, so on and so forth. And included with the handouts with this with the completed project is a handout showing all of the, or listing all of the HTML symbol codes for you. So if you you can download that list, and whenever you need a symbol to appear, you can look that up and type the appropriate code into your HTML. Well, I'm going to save it, the whole page, and then go into design view here. And you can see the way our completed phase 2 page is going to look. Now, it doesn't look at all like this because we haven't added any CSS. But this is actually perfect. And it's perfect because, number one, it's very clean code. This is going to be very easy for you to manage, update, change. It's very clean, uncluttered layout. And the second advantage to that, even if you have no intention of ever changing this, the second big advantage of laying out your code like this is going to be, this is what a search engine is going to see. So when Google comes to your site, it's going to see just the content that's on your page. It's not going to see a whole bunch of, actually it's going to see the code here. But what it won't see is a whole bunch of clutter from formatting information. And what that does is it makes it much, much easier for a search engine to properly index your site. And the easier it is for Google to figure out what your site is about, the higher your position will be, and the easier it will be to grow that position. So if you want your site to be search engine friendly and to have a good ranking inside of Google, this is what you're going for when you lay out your HTML. A page that's got just strict, static content, or not static, but strict, clean content. No clutter in the actual code itself. And you save all of your formatting, all of your presentation, all of your positioning for CSS. Now there's a lot more to search engine optimization, but this is a fundamental place that everybody needs to begin for search engine optimization, for getting your site ranked well in places like Google and Bing. If you want to find out more about search engine optimization, if you go to the link to my site, I also have an SEO guide available for download. It's separate from the framework and separate from the project templates, but you'll see the link to go and look at the SEO guide, the search engine optimization guide. And that will tell you all sorts of things about optimizing your page for Google and Bing and actually getting your site listed in Google and Bing. But that's really something you're going to do at the very end of this project, and we'll talk more about it then. So we've successfully completed the second phase of our design project. We've laid out our HTML structure in the first phase, and now we've successfully added all of our content to our page. And actually, as I'm saying that, I noticed one thing that I forgot to do. There are no links for these social media buttons here. So let's go ahead and put that in before we conclude. So I'm going to come here into the code, and here are those different items. Now remember before when we were creating links, I said all you had to do to use an image as the link is to simply put the image tag where you normally would put the text for the link. So here we've got a link, and here we've got some text. This image tag up here is going to go in this position, and the whole thing is going to be embedded inside of an LI. So to add that link, I'm going to go ahead and click in between the opening LI tag and the opening image tag, and I'm going to put an anchor in. And then I'm going to use the href attribute to indicate the page that this should go to. And in this case, it's going to be Facebook. And you would obviously make it your Facebook page. I'm just going to make it the Facebook homepage. And remember, when you've opened a tag, you also need to close the tag. So right here before the closing LI, we're going to go ahead and do a closing A tag. And that will add that link to your image. And then we'll go ahead and do the exact same thing here. href equals quote, and then we'll go ahead and point that to YouTube. Close your quote, space, close your quote, and then close your bracket, and then put a closing A tag over here. And we'll do that one more time. A, and then the href attribute, and then we're going to go to Twitter. And then we'll do a closing A tag. So really understanding the nesting here is important. The nesting levels that we have here, the nesting levels that we have here is we have an LI, and then we have an A, and then we have an image. And then we close our A, and then we close our LI. So you can see here, LI, A, image. And then we close our image, we close our A, and then we close our LI. So the nesting here is very, very important. And the only thing that sort of clutters this up is the fact that we need this attribute here for the link and for the source of the image. Be aware of that nesting that's there. We'll go ahead and delete that and save this and look at this in Design View. And now you're going to see your images actually have blue squares around them, indicating that they're now links as opposed to just images on the page. So we've successfully completed phase 4. We have phase 2. We have all of our content nicely set up inside of our HTML structure. In the next video, we're going to begin to look at CSS. And we're going to see how CSS can be written. And we're going to then go ahead and apply what we learn about CSS to this actual page to get the finished layout. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and begin to review CSS. And again, there'll be a few videos there. But don't, just like HTML may have seemed a little intimidating at first, but now it probably is making more sense to you. At first, CSS is going to be a little bit intimidating for you. But again, after you've done this once or twice, it's going to seem a lot clearer. And it's going to make a lot of sense in what you do. So the next video, we're going to go ahead and begin a review of, or an introduction to writing CSS. I'll see you in the next video.